So hello guys, so in this video we will talk about isolations, right? In the ACID properties we have already studied atomicity and consistency. Now I stands for isolations. Okay, so what exactly isolations is? So in relational database, the isolation means the concurrently running transactions should not interfere with each other. Suppose two transactions running T1 and T2, okay, and they are having their individual statements, right, and maybe they are using a common table on their transactions. So how they should not interfere each other's data that they are modifying or updating or inserting anything. So isolations actually ensures that they should not interfere between each other, and these isolations get maintained based on the isolations labels. Okay, isolations labels. So you can set up couple of isolation labels in your database, and to make sure how much you want to allow two particular transactions to interfere between each other. So based on the isolation label, it gets decided. Okay. So there are couple of isolations labels are there. One is read uncommitted. Okay. So before I go to the isolations label, I will just tell you what dirty reads is, what non-repeatable read and phantoms is. Okay. So dirty reads is something. What is dirty reads? Suppose two transactions are running, one is transactions 1, another is transaction 2, and these two transactions is kind of updating one table, that is T1, right, and suppose transactions 1 has updated one data in that particular table. Okay. So when transaction 2 has not committed yet, right, uncommitted data, and transaction 2 is able to read that data, right. So that means this particular data which is not yet committed yet can be rolled back, right, can be rolled back because the commit has not been happened. If any next statement gets execution gets failed, then the particular update will be rolled back. So but transaction 2 already read the data and processed it, right. So that means this data is a dirty data, right. So that is called dirty read. Dirty read means if any transactions is able to read, right, any uncommitted data, that means it is the value that it is reading, right, that is dirty, that may be rolled back based on the situations, right. Another is a non-repeatable read. What is non-repeatable read? Is suppose same two transactions are running in parallel concurrently, and it is updating same it is updating another data, right. Suppose the balance, right, transactions 1 update the balance from 5,000 to 4,000, it updated the balance from 5,000 to 4,000, right, and transaction 2 and it committed, right. So before the commit happened, transactions 2 get the value is 5,000, right, and in the same transactions when it get the value again, it will get 4,000 because before it exactly fetches the second time, right, the transaction was already committed the value, right. So if any particular transactions is getting two value in the same transactions, if they get that value from the database, that is the non-repeatable reads. So whenever it is repeating the read, right, when any transaction is repeating the read of the same field multiple times, if it is getting multiple values, right, then it is called non-repeatable reads. I hope you got it, right. Suppose transactions 1 is already committed, okay, then the value will get changed, right, and after its commits, if transaction 2 is already again reading the data, it will get a different value, right. So it is called non-repeatable reads. So now what is non-repeatable reads? If any transactions it is getting a value, it is selecting a value of any particular column, and it is getting two different value in the same transactions, then it is called the non-repeatable reads. So another is the phantoms. Phantoms what? Phantom read means suppose again two transactions are running concurrently, transactions 1 and transactions 2. Okay, transactions 1 is inserting some records. Okay, in the same table, transactions 2 is fetching the records. Okay, so what is happening? So inside this particular transactions, what happens? Transaction 2 inserted the record and committed, right? And in the same time, transactions 2 is getting this record. So it will get a new extra row, right? New row in the same transactions. So because the same concept, transaction T1 already committed the records, right, already inserted the records. So in records got already physically written in that hard disk. So in the same transactions, when the transaction 2 is fetching the records, it will get a new row, right. So whenever any deletions or insertions are happening particular by one transactions and another transactions, before it ends, if it gets the new row while fetching the data, it it is called phantom read. Okay, I hope you got it right. So one is dirty read. Dirty read is what? If any transactions is able to read any uncommitted data, right, then it's called dirty read. Non-repeatable reads means if any transactions is getting any particular field's value, it has a two different value, suppose 500 and 400. Okay, before the transactions T2 ends, right, if it fetches the value multiple times, if it is getting multiple values, right, then it is called non-repeatable reads. And phantom means if any transactions is getting a new row, right, before the transactions even ends, right, or if it is getting a row getting deleted before the transactions is finished, right. Suppose this T2 transactions is fetching the value rows 3 times, right. So first time the rows was 30, right, second time the row went to 31, third time the row went to 32, because T1, what T1 is doing, T1 is continuously inserting the records and committing, right. So then it is called phantom read. Okay, have you got it? Now we will come to the isolations level. So first isolation level is read uncommitted. That's what we talked about, right? That is called dirty reads, right? So read uncommitted means if you set the isolations level in your database as read uncommitted, then what will happen? So transactions will be able to see the uncommitted records, right? So suppose a transactions 1 is running and it is updating, right? Suppose transactions 1 is running, begin and commit. Inside begin and commit, it changes the value balance equals to balance minus 100, right? So earlier the balance was 300. After this particular code execution, the balance went to 300 to 200, right? And same time transactions 2 is running and transactions 2 is getting select balance from account, right? So then what will happen? Transaction 2, even before its commits, transaction 2 will get the value as 200 instead of 300. Okay. So what happens in the read uncommitted? Because before even the value another transaction is committing any particular transactions, another transactions will be able to access that modified value, right? It will be able to read the uncommitted records. This is the uncommitted records, right? So this is called read uncommitted. So what happens? It creates multiple problems, right? The first problem it creates is the dirty read, okay, because we are reading the dirty value, and non-repeatable reads also will come, because multiple times if a transactions will change the value, multiple times T2 will get the value, right? And phantom also will come, because any changes in T1 can come to T2 also, because uncommitted records it is able to read it. I hope you got it right. So any transactions, if it is able to read the uncommitted records, then it is called read uncommitted. So another isolations level is read committed. So what that means? That means any transactions will be able to read only the committed records. Okay, read committed means it will be able to read only the committed records. Suppose you have two transactions T1 and T2. Okay, it is updating the balance value, right? Suppose this is coming begin balance equals to balance minus 100 and commit. Okay, this is what the query is running. Okay, and what T2 is doing? T2 is doing select balance from account. Okay, so this is also another transactions begin and commit. Just I am thinking. Okay, compare. Okay, so what happens when these executions happen, right? Balance will become 300 to 200. Definitely the minus 100 is happening. But when before its commit, right, when the select query will run, it will get 300, not 200. Okay, it will get 300 because the value is not committed yet. Okay, the transaction is not committed yet. But after this commit happened, if it will again search it, right, then the value will change 300 to 200. Okay, so what is preventing? It is preventing dirty reads, because it is not able to read the uncommitted records, but it is not preventing the non-repeatable reads. Why? Because if T1 committed but T2 is not committed yet, if T1 committed but T2 is not committed yet, then the value might get changed. The value might get changed, right, from 300 to 200, right? So what is this scenario? Suppose this particular value, before this transactions, after this transaction starts, at the same time it fetches the value. So the value is 300, right? After this transaction committed, it is again fetching the value will be 200. So it will be able to prevent the dirty reads, because before the commit happens, it will not able to read the uncommitted records, but after the commit happens, it will able to read the commit records. So two times two separate value can come, right? So it will not able to prevent the non-repeatable reads and phantoms. Okay, you got it, right? Another thing is repeatable reads, right? Repeatable read. What is repeatable read? Repeatable read defines, okay, suppose any particular transactions is running and it is fetching that balance value, right, and it read the balance value once, okay, and another transaction is running, it is updating the balance value. Suppose balance equals to balance plus 500. So balance, suppose earlier the balance value is 200, so then the balance will become 200 to 700, right? Suppose this is also a transactions, this is begin and commit. Got it? So suppose in T1 it fetches the balance value, it got the balance value as 200, right, and T2 also committed, and after even commit, T1 will again ask for the balance value, it will again get 200, it will not get the 700 value, because, so what exactly repeatable it means? If you repeatedly read one value, right, once you read the value will come unlimited times whenever you read inside one transaction. So that means a value of any particular field will never get changed, right, inside one transactions, even though you read multiple times. But another side T2 already committed beforehand, right, but still the value is not reflecting here. Okay, this is called a repeatable reads, right? Repeatable reads means if a transaction reads a value once, right, it will see the same value if it reads again. Repeatable reads means if a transaction read a value once, the value will never be changed inside that particular transactions if it reads the same value again and again, right, even though the other transactions has already committed, even though the other transactions is already committed. So another one is serializable. Serializable means this is one isolation level where the transactions executes one by one in a sequential manner. Suppose T1 is started, right, T1 is started and T2 wants to start, right, so it will hold it will hold, the database will hold these T2 transactions, it will wait for T1 to finish the executions, then T2 will start. So that means there is no concurrency. If you make this isolations level is serializable, then it will be extremely slow, because there is no concurrency, because every transactions will wait for the another transaction to finish it, right, and all the transactions will be in queue, and once another transactions will be finished, second transaction will start processing. Okay, so we have seen there are four isolation level. So the first isolations level is read uncommitted, where we have seen this is the lowest level of isolations. Okay, read uncommitted is the lowest level of isolations, where it cannot prevent anything, it cannot prevent anything, dirty reads, non-repeatable reads, phantoms, everything is coming, right. So this is not useful. Okay, mostly it is not used. I have not ever seen read uncommitted is used anywhere. Okay, another is read committed also not much preferable, because repeatable reads doesn't get prevented. That means even if one transaction is already committed any particular record, another transactions inside the particular transactions, if it fetches the value 2 times, it may get 2 different value, right. So it is also not much preferable. So the mostly used, right, repeatable reads. The mostly used isolations level in your database is repeatable reads. What happens if you read any particular value once, it will never be changed inside one transactions, okay, again, right. So the mostly I have seen repeatable reads are used as your isolations level. So another is the serializable. Serializable means no concurrency, because what it will happen, any transactions, if the transactions is running, another transactions will wait, right, you will wait until this transaction got finished, right. So definitely there is no issues now, because data read cannot happen, because 2 transactions will never concurrently running. So there will be no point of data reads, no point of read uncommitted, non-repeatable reads, no point of phantom reads, right? So it prevents everything, but it creates the applications or it creates the database operations very slow, very slow, right? So this is the basic isolations level. So while designing a database, you are not much concerned about this one, because by default repeatable reads are used, but based on your requirement, you can change your isolations level in your database so that it can behave accordingly. Okay, if you allow read uncommitted, it will read the value uncommitted records. If you apply read committed, it will allow, read the committed records inside one transactions. Repeatable reads the best one, because if you read one value once, it will never be changed. It will never be changed whenever you are asking for again the same value from database, right? So repeatable reads is the most preferable one as in your isolations in your database. This is it for today. We will study the next one as durability in your ACID property in the next lecture. Okay, durability. Then your ACID properties in your RDMS will be finished. Okay, thank you so much for today.